Armenia. This is Turkey. Remember, this is what we are studying. And this is where, like Chechnya, North Ossetia, all these independence republics in Russia that want to have independence. And they are the one, Chechnya is the one responsible for the bombing of the subway in Moscow. Right? So this is the area. So this is really very unsettled area. This is we call North Transcaucasus. This is Caucasus, and we have this Ossetia, which is part of Georgia, but becoming independent, and this area is we call North Ossetia, 北奥塞梯亚, 南奥塞梯. And this is where Chechnya is, okay? And this is Tajikistan, another stan here. So those are all very much violent, volatile areas here. Okay, just let you know. Okay, go back to our Nobel Prize. Because they were doing fine earlier, so people said maybe these two countries, Turkey and Armenia, who are reconciling, they should be given Nobel Prize. Okay, so why don't we start here with our Nobel Prize, Chen Yijun. Yeah. Volatile. Okay, so here, will the winner of the next Nobel Peace Prize be the leader of the adversaries? What do you mean by adversaries? Like Puyuan Taiying or Yankee and Boston's, Red Sox, 世仇或者是敌人啊，主要敌人。Okay, adversaries. Okay, so here the leaders of them, Turkey and Armenia, should they win the next Nobel Prize? So who won the last one? Mr. Chen, who won the last one? Obama. Did he deserve it? No?
I don't know.
You don't know? Okay, I'll give you a hint. The United States just, signed the treaty. They're going to reduce nuclear weapons with Russia. From currently they have, in Russia they have 2,500 nuclear warheads. United States has 2,000. And both of them going to reduce to 1,500 nuclear warheads. Okay, so it's a reduction. Obama said he's trying to create, we call a nuclear-free world. What does that mean, nuclear-free? Have you drink something, say, caffeine-free, or drink something sugar-free? What do you mean by that?
No caffeine.
No caffeine or no sugar, or fat-free, no fat. Calorie-free. Do we have? No, we only have a low calorie, right? Low fat. Oh, by the way, my youngest son, when he was little, my father visited us. And I have two sons. One is, the older son is a little bit skinnier. The little one is a little bit choppy. So we are giving him low-fat milk, right? Low-fat, And so he asked my father. My father just said, for my father's oldest, the first grandson, right? Very important one. He should have, the vitamin D, the full milk, okay? Regular milk. And the younger one, too fat, low-fat milk. And so my son said, Grandpa, am I drinking the low-fat milk because I'm low and fat? Okay, so that's low-fat, low-calorie. Okay, but you're going to have nuclear-free. So maybe Obama is into something worthwhile. He's going to sign this nuclear reduction, or we call strategic weapons arms reduction treaty with Russian president next week in Czechoslovakia, where he, a year ago, also gave a speech about the nuclear-free world. So anyway, I think Obama is into something. So maybe he was encouraged by his Nobel Peace Award, right, to do something to justify. So he's doing something. But maybe Armenia and Turkey, if they can find something, but it's not every day that two neighboring but not neighboring. Now, do we have, what does that mean? Neighboring but not neighborly. Mr. Chen? Neighboring but not neighbor.
They are neighbors, but
They don't look like neighbors.
they don't have friendship.
Okay. Neighborly is like good neighbor relations. It's like you will go to your next door to borrow some, usually it's what? Sugar? Oil? Usually it's oil. What else do you borrow from your next door? I don't think we do that anymore. I mean, we are not very neighborly, don't you think? Nowadays, like, you all live in the apartments. And we don't even have our name plaque outside our mailbox like before. When I was a little kid, outside my house, the door said, Yan Yu. Nowadays, like, you visit a friend, oh, I forgot which floor. There's no sign there, like, this is Mr. Chen, or this is Mr. Li. And you go to the United States, they still have that name. We don't do it anymore. I mean, we're not very neighborly. We have a lot of neighbors now than before, right? But we're not very neighborly. We don't even know who lived right next door until someone died. Ooh, bad smell. Ooh, a body. So that's what we call neighborly. Okay, neighborly means good relation with your neighbor. Turkey and Armenia didn't have one. How about China? China, do they have good relation with anyone? Oh, yeah, Myanmar. Okay, Myanmar. I think they have good relation with Myanmar. I don't think they have good relation with Vietnam. Not very good. They had a war before, right? China had a war with India before. China always nervous with Russia. China, Pakistan, where is that border? I don't think they touch. There is a controversial Pamir here. But otherwise, it's separated. Okay? Mongolia, fine. North Korea, not necessarily good. They have some refugee into there. Not good with Taiwan, not good with Japan. I think it's good with Laos. But recently, have you heard something? Vietnam, Laos, and Thailand not happy with China. Why? Because of the drought. The Mekong River don't have water. They have all the, dams upstreams, right? Keeping the water. So that's what we call neighborly. And yeah, China is the one who always talk about neighborly. Hu Jintao says something called, Muling, right? Sanhe. Okay, so those are the one here we have. So neighborly is very important. Good neighborhood, neighborly country, neighborly relations. Okay, overcome a century of deep hostility. That most strategic and volatile. Mr. Chen, what is volatile? Volatile means things change really fast. Okay, it's not very stable. Things change really very fast. I'll give you one example, like last week. what area is also volatile? Yellow Sea. Where is Yellow Sea? Okay, yeah, between Korea and China, right? This is Yellow Sea here. And you know that island, little island they have where the naval ship sunk. It's very close to North Korea here. It's almost like Taiwan's Jinmen and Mazu. And like, hours from the main part of South Korea. It's very close to North Korea. That's the only island that, capped by South Korea. It's like the further west and northwest part of the territory. So you have a volatile, people will always talk about volatile. So Korean Peninsula is always one, right? Where else can you think of volatile area? A big region, people always say, Middle East, always volatile. Israel with its neighbors. Can we say Australia being volatile? No, never. I mean, so boring. Nothing happened. Okay, but sometimes we will say Taiwan Strait, being volatile. So our president is not doing a good job. He has deleted or gotten rid of this term volatile from our Taiwan Strait. Ma Ying-jeou deprive us a opportunity for volatility. Now Ma Ying-jeou reconciling with China, so we are no longer fast changing in Taiwan Strait. So that's volatile. Okay, the crossroads, especially in that area. Volatile. Which area in Europe is also volatile before? People will always use that word volatile for Europe, for this European part. Norway. No, I don't think it's Norway. Balkans Peninsula. Balkan Peninsula, former Yugoslavia, okay, can be volatile. Okay, so you understand volatile now. 廖航伟有在吗？黄建元，廖航伟有在，你要说有。Okay, next. Zurich, Rick. Divisive. Okay, where is Zurich? Oh, there is a Zurich bank in Taipei, right? Where is Zurich? Which country? I mean, people like to go to those countries to sign peace deal. I mean, why don't they go to Somalia? They always go to this nice country called Switzerland, right? To sign. Okay, so in Zurich, Switzerland, they sign. Both diplomats from, Christian country. Which one is Christian? Turkey or Armenia? Armenia is Christian. Turkey is Muslim. Okay, now again, we have these two words again, historic and historical commission. What's the difference? Historic and historical, again. Right? We have a historic agreement and a historical commission. Which one? Historic? Historical. Just, okay, something of the past, right? So historical is of the history. So a commission, historical commission means a commission of historians studying something about some history, okay? Historic is like just one word, right? Wow. Okay, that's historic. Wow. So you have an agreement. Wow. So that's the word. Sign the agreement because usually you're not going to see that happen. So that's historic. We might have one next month, huh? Am I right? No, not next month. In May or June, between Taiwan and China, the ACFA. People probably will use that word, historic. Who knows? Okay. So here, a provision. What do we mean by provision? Means one of the lines, 条文, okay, says there should be a historical commission to look at the deeply divisive. What do you mean by divisive? Divisive. People would say something like, President Bush is a divisive figure. Why? Bush said, you're either with us or you're against us. Right? Someone who is more unifying, Obama might be more unifying. So divisive, you understand divisive, just separating issues. People have just, we call diametrically opposed view. This is from geometry, am I right? this is 半径还是直径？直径。那这是什么意思？直径的两端。Okay, diametrically opposed. Okay, I think that's it. Right? So that's the two sides. Okay? Diametrically opposed view. So that's what we call deeply divisive. Okay. 黄建元没有啊？张淑珍 Yeah. Caspian. Okay, here, Armenia, impoverished, poor, the tiniest of the Soviet republics. Most of them are bigger than Armenia. Hugs the southern tip. I love that word. Can we say Taiwan hug the southern tip of the East China Sea? 我们拥抱东海的南端. Okay, so here, okay, Armenia hug the southern tip of the Transcaucasus, right? So that's meaning hug. The tinderbox. What do you mean by tinderbox? When you call a region a tinderbox, what does that mean? Ready to explode anytime. Okay, just a place that is likely to explode. Between the Caspian, how do we translate Caspian Sea in Chinese? I don't know why we do that. Like inner, huh? Why inner sea? 厉害, Caspian. Why? I think it's not connected to any major sea. It's a lake. No, it's a sea. So big. Bigger than Taiwan. Woo. 5 or 6 times, right? But it's landlocked. Okay, it's inside here. But Black Sea, why Black Sea is not called 里海? No. Black Sea here. Ooh, there are two straits here. Remember Bosporus, 什么博斯普鲁斯海峡，还有一个什么达达尼尔海峡 something Dardanelle. Okay, so they go through here and connect to the agency 爱琴海 and then to the Mediterranean Sea and through this little Gibraltar to Atlantic Ocean. So they're all connected here except Caspian. Okay, so Caspian is separate. That's why we call 里海. So here, share a border north with Georgia. Georgia was invaded by Russia in 2008. And Georgia in 2008, this is Georgia here, little country called Georgia. Good friend of United States, but always like to irritate Russia. So someone wrote a piece in 2008 saying, hey, this is very much like Taiwan. You have a good friend in the United States, but very far away from you. Huh? And why are you doing something to challenge your big neighbor? Huh? We did that before, right? Little Taiwan here challenging China. Little Georgia here challenging Russia. And then the good friend is, very far away, called United States, right? So they said, hey, even though you have a good friend, but too far to help you, don't do something stupid. Okay, this is American wrote. Okay, American wrote that piece, comparing Georgia and Taiwan. And Georgia was invaded by Russia in 2008. Okay. Next one, 郭登峰. Okay. NATO. Corridor. Okay, you understand what is a corridor? Corridor, 走廊, what does that mean? People pass way, passing it, right? 走廊 means something like Taiwan can be also a corridor from Southeast Asia to Northeast Asia. 所有东西，这个怎么那么差？ Okay, something from here always going through Taiwan Strait, right? So this is also a corridor in a way. China goes through Europe. There is a 什么我们叫什么？河西走廊丝路. Okay, so that's a corridor as well. So Turkey doesn't look like a corridor, but it's a corridor for what? For Russia and Caspian, countries like Azerbaijan, they have a lot of oil. So all this oil and gas goes through Turkey pipeline to Europe. So Turkey just sit there and, getting all the pipeline. And I love all this pipeline goes through Russia, goes through East Europe, like Ukraine. They would say, okay, can I steal something from here? Like the pipeline going through your country, you should take, what do we call? 买路费是吧？过路费 Okay, 买路钱过路费 Okay, so that's, and so Turkey doesn't want to have any problem, called zero problem. Okay, now, zero problem, there is another term people like to use called zero tolerance. What does that mean? Zero tolerance. 零容忍。好难念。What does that mean? Zero tolerance. Mr. Guo, what does that mean? Zero tolerance. 零容忍. What does that mean? For example, if your mom said, if I count to 3 and you will not stop, I will do something. Some mom just said 1, 2, 2.5, 2 3/4, and okay. So a zero tolerance mom would say 1, 2, 3, pia. That's what we call a zero tolerance. Okay. If you're still, saying, I don't want to eat this, that's zero tolerance. Okay. 零容忍. Some mom will say, 2.5, 2.3, 2.7. So zero tolerance, like especially in drugs, in law enforcement, people talk about that word, zero tolerance. Just we will not tolerate anything. But here, zero problems. Turkey doesn't want to have any problem with its neighbors. Okay, big country now.严震生. Yeah, next. No, regional.
Regional stability could slow, and more oil and gas too, if the parliaments of Turkey and Armenia ratify the agreement. Ratification is easy, however, considering the gaping historical rift that has separated these two neighbors all these years. Armenians call the death of their ancestors at the end of World War I a genocide. Turkey says it was a tragic result of war.
Okay, so here, stability could flow means could be coming in, and also more oil and gas. If two countries sign the agreement and ratify, they sign, but the parliament ratify. Now, what do you mean by ratify?
Ratify means that to officially make effect.
Approve, okay, especially by parliament, by Congress. So, for example, United States and Russia signed this strategic arms reduction treaty. They're going to reduce the nuclear warheads, and it has to be ratified by the American Senate. 美国参议院要批准. So, how many votes do you need to ratify a treaty? Not 50%, 2/3 majority. Okay, but this one I think will be ratified. So that's what we call ratify. And some people say in Taiwan, we also need to ratify what? ECFA. Maybe our government and Chinese authority, I love that word. We don't call government, we call authority. Because government means you recognize that it's a different country. So they would say Taipei authority. 台北执政当局. Okay, so authority will sign this. But our legislative yuan said we need to ratify. Okay, so that's what we call ratification. And iffy. Ms. Yan, what do you mean by iffy? Uncertain. Okay, iffy. Like, can you go to this party? Iffy. Like I don't know. I'm not sure. So here, not certain. Especially gaping. Gaping. Okay, gaping historical rift means big. Wow, such a difference separating these two countries. And genocide, result of war. I think this is the same thing from Taiwan or China with Japan. Nanking Massacre, 南京大屠杀. Japan would say what? Nanjing Incident. Okay? So that's the word you're going to use. Incident. 周明翰. Yeah.
Another impediment, the important conflict of
Karabakh. Nagorno-Karabakh. Nearby. Azerbaijan. Yeah, 塞拜然. In China, what do they translate? 阿塞拜疆. Okay. Okay, continue.
Azerbaijan has put considerable pressure on its friend, Turkey, to make normal relations with Armenia
Contingent.
contingent on resolving the conflict.
Okay, remember, try to pronounce Armenia, because otherwise it's more like ammonia. Armenia is different. Okay, so here, another one problem. Frozen conflict. What do you mean by frozen conflict? A conflict that is frozen. I think we have a frozen conflict with China now. Kind of frozen. Frozen means it is something, it's there, but no longer, surface. So here, this is, remember, what do we call enclave in Chinese? Do you remember? 飞地. I don't know why 飞地. Again, 飞地. It's almost like 新竹市 is a 飞地. Why? Why 新竹市 is a 飞地? Mr. Zhou, do you know? You are in 新竹. 新竹 is a 飞地. Okay, now, you know 新竹 city, surrounded by what? By 新竹 County. And south of 新竹 city is what? 请你爱台湾一点好吗？ South of 新竹 city is which county? 苗栗. Okay, please. And north of 新竹 county is what? 桃园 county. Okay, so in the southern part of 桃园 county and 新竹 county and 苗栗 county, all these are Hakka place, right? But 新竹 city is 闽南. So 新竹 city is the 闽南 enclave in the Hakka region. Okay, that's why we call enclave. Okay, so 飞地算不算飞地？算吧。Okay, so you understand 飞地 now. Okay. I think we show you the map. One of your article has that map that there is this Nagorno Karabakh place inside Azerbaijan. That's interesting. Okay, but here the Azerbaijan said, "Hey, Turkey, we are friends, so you cannot just separate, go to have a good time with Armenia without trying to settle this problem." So contingent. What do you mean by contingent? Contingent, for example, Mr. Zhou, you want to go to watch a movie. You're a college student. I should not use this example. Like your parents said, "Yeah, I will, provide you all this. I'll pay for your ticket, provided you pass Professor Yan's class." That would be contingent on passing Professor Yan's class. Contingent, what does that mean? Depending, right? If you pass, 条件之一 contingent. Okay, so that's the word contingent. Depending on, with Armenia, contingent on resolving the conflict. The conflict of where? Nagorno. Okay, Karabakh. That's the area you try to solve the conflict. Then Turkey, you can have a good relation with Armenia. Otherwise, please don't. Okay. Oh, by the way, today we will not take a break. We will leave early. Okay. So if you cannot hold your bag, you can go to the restroom. Okay, in between. I don't want to create some kidney problem. Okay. Next one, 肖乃馨. Yeah. Abdullah. Says Sassian. Sassian. Okay, so chest high hurdle. This is hurdle, right? Have you ran hurdles? No, never try. Like, I'm not talking about high hurdle. I think the girls usually run for low hurdles, right? 低栏，你没跑过低栏？一面跑一面跳那个没有？啊，跨栏呀，跨低栏，你们叫女生是低栏嘛 ，right？ 男生是高栏嘛，是不是 ？Am I right? Or are you doing that at all now? Run and then you jump and then run another hurdle. So that's hurdle. Okay. Some people think this is hurdle. Some people think this is hurdle. Depends on how you can jump. But chest high, I think that's hurdle. Chest high. Okay. More remarkable because you do have the two presidents want to reconcile, right? Abdullah Gül of Turkey and also Sirth Sargsyan of Armenia. Wow. Soccer game, that's important. Why? Can you imagine today, Ma Ying-jeou and Tsai Ing-wen go to Taiwan's professional baseball and, they throwing the first pitch together? Or Tsai Ing-wen is the catcher, Ma Ying-jeou is the pitcher. Huh? That we call reconciliation, right? But also baseball is very Taiwan. Soccer is very Turkey and Armenia. Now, can you tell me why soccer is so Turkey? 哦，你说土耳火鸡就像一个足球 ？No. How many of you remember in 2002, 8 years ago, Turkey was in the Final Four? Okay, Turkey has a good soccer team. Okay, they were in the Final Four World Cup. So, big, very important sport in Turkey. But right now, I think they also very good in basketball right now because of Tuguru or some of the players. But anyway, this is important games. Armenia, which doesn't have a very good team, but that's the only sport they do. Okay, soccer. So very important, symbolic. In Taiwan, will be a baseball game. So your professor probably will try to arrange Ma Ying-jeou and Tsai Ing-wen to English, right? 双音, to have a baseball, first pitch, throwing out first pitch, and one is the catcher, one is the pitcher. So you have reconciliation. Okay. Next one, 林若凡. Driven. Driver, but driven. Okay, here. What do you mean by senior opinion makers? It's almost like in Taiwan, who will be a senior opinion maker? 南方朔, Li Jiatong. Okay, is Li Jiatong still part of Tsinghua? Yes. Okay, so those are. 你们现在还有一位叫什么？不，你们前任校长？不是啦 ，the other one. 刘炯啦 Okay, so these are opinion makers. So And then intellectual. Intellectual means, people with knowledge on both sides already discussed the issue before this public diplomacy. I'll give you one. Poland and Germany, when they reconciled before, or Germany and France, what did they do? Before everything, both sides, they have their historians got together and write a common history book. So you will not be one-sided, like, German, all evil, right? Occupying France. So they try to present an objective fact about Germany, France, and later Germany and Poland. Both sides can accept a real history, not the patriotic side. Now, Japan and China, they also did that. They wrote history together for East Asia, and most being published before 19th century. Okay, I think both sides can agree. That's already a big breakthrough. Why? Because in China, what do we think of Japanese history? We say, it started when Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor, right? We have a guy called Xu Fu. He with 15 pairs of boys and girls? 是不是15对，对不对? Okay, they went to Japan, and that's how Japanese history started. Okay, now, Qin Shi Huang, what century? Yeah, 2nd century BC, or actually 3rd century BC. Now, Japanese history started about 7th century BC. Okay, so I think we cut 400 years out. And how about Korean history? We said, who went to Korea to start Korean history? This patriot of Song Dynasty who will not serve the Zhou master. 没听过，有个叫箕子。说武王克周，是克商啊，克周。武王克商啊。Okay, he doesn't want to serve the Zhou dynasty, so he and his descendant went to Korea. So what was the year of that? 1111 BC. BC. And Korean history, according to their version, started at 2332 BC. So we cut 1,200 years of Korean history. Of course, I don't think we can agree. So we have to come up with a common version of East Asian history. When does Korean history really start? Korean also think they have longer history and more civilized because all the cultures, all the potteries going through Korea to Japan. Okay? But anyway, that's how you reconcile, you write a common history of East Asia. But then when they write to the modern period, okay, both sides, I know the people, both sides finish writing like a book about the modern history. Both government would not accept the version. The Japanese side would say, how can you write this? And the Chinese are saying, you traitors. So, which means probably they are writing the real thing, right? Because both sides cannot accept. If one side accept, must be bad. Okay, but both sides cannot accept. So that's what we call reconciliation. Write a common history. That would be difficult. Even like in Taiwan, can we write a single version of history about the 228 incidents? There's still different interpretation. So very difficult. Okay, so that's why you have those intellectuals on both sides already talk. What really happened. Some of the Turkish intellectual acknowledge, that was a genocide. So preceded. What do you mean by precede? Ms. Lin? Preceded? Yeah. What do you mean by preceded? The public diplomacy? What do you mean by preceded? Happened before. Okay, so they already did it. And Armenia who want to break out their landlocked and poor economy. So give me another landlocked country in Asia. Can you give me one? Ms. Lin? What do you mean by landlocked? 内陆国. So give me one country in Asia that is a 内陆国. Mongolia. Okay, good. How about here? In Indochina. 印度支那. 中南半岛了. We also have one. I don't think it's Vietnam. I don't think it's Thailand. I don't think it's Burma. Which one? Laos. Okay, 辽国 here. That's a landlocked. Okay. Now, do we have a landlocked county in Taiwan? Yeah, we have one. Where? Nantou. Okay, do we have a landlocked province in China? Oh, a lot. But which one is so close to ocean, to sea, but it's landlocked? The one closest to, like, oh, I can see it. Somewhere here called Guangxi. Huh? Very close. I think there is also one here called 黑龙江. Not 黑龙江, 吉林省, I think, 吉林. You know, somewhere here. Very close to Sea of Japan. Oh, just separated by Russia and North Korea here. Just a little, okay? So we call it landlocked. So you know landlocked here. They want to have normal relation with Turkey, and Turkey being driven by business interests and zero problem diplomacy policy. 张宇全, yeah. Okay, here the word détente. And then there is another word called entente. Okay, what's the difference? Do you know? What is détente? I don't like the translation. Détente is called 低档. What does that mean? It's almost like, it's almost like you're having this swing that is so low. Guys. Okay. So what do we mean by détente? You know what? People are calling right now Taiwan's relation with China a détente. Okay? They called it the second détente. Wow, when is the first détente? Taiwan and China. In the late 80s and early 1990s, when we set up SAF and China set up ARATS. 有没有听过海基会、海协会？有没有听过什么孤汪会谈？啊 ，But in China they have to call it 汪孤。Okay, I don't know. You know, we just feel good. 孤汪 right? We call 江城会 right? China call 澄江会 right? I think 江城 is better than 澄江. 澄江 almost like old ginger or something. So 江城会 But that's détente. Détente means you are enemy before, but you reconcile, you have peace. We call it détente. Okay? But what is entente? Just good friend, which is natural friends. Okay? Détente is you make an effort. You don't like each other, but you try to maintain, this reconciliation and peace. Sometimes people use the word rapprochement. Okay? But rapprochement, a French word, I think there's an A here somewhere. Huh? Rapprochement. Okay. Yeah. No A. Okay. So détente, entente. Rapprochement, also like making up. Right now will be United States and Cuba. Rapprochement. Okay. So this is détente and relation between Turkey and Syria. So we need to look at the map. Turkey here. Syria is very much the south of Turkey. East you have Armenia. You have Iran here. West you have Greece, right? So relation with Syria improve. Also reaching out to Tehran. Tehran is the capital of where? Ms. Zhang? Iran. Okay, and then Turkey has played a role as negotiator between Syria and Israel. Now, most of the Middle Eastern countries do not talk to Israel. Okay, but nowadays few can talk to Israel, including one of the adversaries before, we call Egypt. Egypt and Israel, because they both took so much money from the United States, they have to pretend to be friends. Okay, Jordan usually is okay, but Turkey is one that can talk to Israel, but not very successful. And then they also have this calculation that Armenia could tighten Turkey's tie to Russia, because Turkey said, hey, I have a good friend with you, Armenia, which is supported by Russia. So maybe that will help to improve the relation. So zero problem. Try to be friend with everyone in the area. Guo Junyi. Yeah, next. Cyprus. Rejuvenate. Okay, so here, if they both succeeded, you can solve the problem. Intractable, what does that mean? Intractable dispute. What do you mean by intractable? Just something cannot be solved. Something very difficult to deal. Disputes. You understand dispute? A lot of time is we call border dispute. Do we have any border dispute? No? Taiwan, oh, thank God we have border dispute with ocean. Do we have a border dispute at all? Or territorial dispute, do we have one? 钓鱼台. Oh, how many of you know 钓鱼台 belong to where? in Taiwan, if you go to the post office, 钓鱼台 actually has a zip code. 有一个邮递区号 where? 宜兰 County. 钓鱼台属于宜兰县了。Okay. It's a little bit like 白令岛 of Korea belong to where? 仁川. Oh, so far. 白令岛 is here. 仁川 is there. Okay, but so territorial dispute between Japan and Korea, they have a 独岛之争。Sometimes they call 主岛, sometimes Korea called 独岛, I think. In Taiwan and Japan, we might have a 钓鱼台. And do we have anything with the Philippines? Yes, South China Sea. 我们南沙群岛我们还在那边 claim. Okay, so that's what we call territorial dispute, border dispute, territorial dispute, 争议，领土争议，边境争议 a lot. Always, you will always have those. Even inside, do we have anything inside people claim like a district in Taiwan? People say, oh, this is Hsinchu County. So people say, no, this is part of Taoyuan County. 没有吧？我们桃园县跟新竹县有边界争议吗？没有。有没有？有，我们有什么 ？We call zoning or apartment. Some people's having your house. People say, oh, your boundary overstep my area. So 我们还是有一些那种争议啊，不叫领土，叫什么？叫我的房子的土地纠纷。Okay, I think. So dispute, but divided Cyprus. Okay, now Cyprus is, where is Cyprus? Cyprus is south of Turkey. It's here. I don't know why the Greeks want to come all the way here. Half of the islanders, Greek descendants, and they divided here. So since 1970s, Cyprus is one of the few European countries you still have peacekeeping forces. Oh, I love to be peacekeeper in Cyprus. Not very dangerous. Just peaceful there. Okay, but it's divided. They also, true reconciliation may rejuvenate. So, Mr. Guo, what do you mean by rejuvenate? Okay, now, do we have someone who is playing basketball now, like having, we call passé. You understand passé? 已经过气了. But one day he just had a great game. Like, wow, he's coming back. We call just rejuvenated his career. Let me think of someone. Let's say in baseball, do we have someone who is considered a passé? And then, how about Normal? Do you know Normal? Normal 叫什么？野茂。野茂 Normal 野茂英雄，大家都认为他是 passé 了吧？ Suddenly, he reinvented himself in another team. Let's say another team called Washington National. Okay, and he threw 2 games, 1 perfect game, 1 what do we call no hit. 一个无安打，一个完全比赛。People say, "Oh, Hideo Nomo is back. He just rejuvenated his career in Washington." So that's what we call rejuvenate. Or a politician, someone who is a passé, like one time rejuvenated his career, now also began a passé, someone called Wu Boxiong. Right? Wu Boxiong is like already, like playing with his grandkids, and suddenly became chairman of the KMT, and then won the election. So rejuvenation. Okay. I know there are also some men who look like a passé and then marry a younger woman and suddenly rejuvenated, okay, as well, right? Or an older woman marry a younger man, like, what's her name? Madonna? Madonna always get rejuvenated, dating a younger man, right? So that's what we call rejuvenation. Getting young. So Turkey stall. We talk about stall means being what? Stuck there, not moving. For membership in the European Union, they love to be European Union, but not. And they want to show they are not security problem solver. They are security solver, problem solver, not what? Like in Taiwan, we will be called one time troublemaker. Okay, so they are problem solver. More trade in the region will be more greater prosperity. Okay, next one, 单主文.
The provision for a commission to impartially examine historical records in
Archives.
may not bring to passionate disagreement about the Armenian
Massacre.
But it can create an atmosphere of more open discussion, and that's needed in both countries. At the same time, international mediation continues on Nagorno-Karabakh. Nagorno-Karabakh. It's like not being like defending like a side, just being in the middle, try to make a balance.
Usually in Taiwan, we accuse the Korean Empire not being very impartial, right? We call them the patriotic empire. 我们常常会说韩国的裁判太爱国了. So not very impartial. Impartial means very objective. Okay, you're not partial with someone means you don't favor someone. Okay, so impartial here is not favoring. So impartial, both sides, not because I'm from Turkey that I will give the version that favor Turkey. So impartial, exempt historical records and archive. What do you mean by archives?
It's record also.
It's also records. It's being classified mostly. Your professor, when I first went to the United States, I transferred from one university to another. They said, no, you cannot do that. You have to go to the university, which is the one giving you the I-20, the admission. So at least you have to stay there for one semester before you can make the transfer. But my university, the other university, I also got the admission later. After I arrived in the United States, I got the admission, but I want to go to this university. They said, well, we have to invent a reason for you to come. So they said, well, what do we have that the other university does not have? They'll say, in our history department, we have a program called archive management. And that's the only one in Texas. So you have to show your interest in archive management, and because the other university doesn't have, so we can keep you stay and keep you here. And in order to make this look real, why don't you take the class called archive management? So I took a class called archive management, 档案管理. Okay, so studying like what I did was I personally was working in the library on a former congressman, ex-congressman who was defeated but served 3 terms in the Congress. Once he was defeated, he donated all the paper to our library. So I began to classify the material and put them in boxes that is acid-free, 没有酸的. 好棒的，好漂亮的盒子。 one, just putting them and then, classify them. And then because he was a congressman, so I understood a lot about American politics. That's why I began to study politics. Okay, so archival management in Taiwan, do we have that? We have like archive, almost like collection, special collection, 有点像特藏, but it's different, just 档案管理. So in China, they have a lot of, if you have an exchange program with Beijing University, then you ask, the student, say, 哎，你本科大陆不能说你在什么主修什么，说本科什么党管，党管，什么是党管？档案管理 ，OK， 党管 ，OK， so they have archive management. So you look at the archives, 档案 right, to find, may not breach, means you have to reach a middle, right? The disagreement about the Armenian massacre. So can we do that? So like say, Armenians said 1.5 million people died. Turkish said 500,000 died. Oh, why don't we just plus and divide it by 2? So 1 million died. Okay. So, no, you have to look at the records, okay, about this massacre. And can create an atmosphere of open discussion. People are going to do that. And that is needed in both countries. Usually in Turkey, we call this one a taboo. Right? What is a taboo? A taboo is no. Right? What would be a no? For example, 单族文 in Taiwan, you cannot date a girl whose last name is Dan. In Taiwan, we don't marry the same person, the person with the same last name. 现在还有吗？有，怎么没有？ For example, if your last name is Song, do we have someone Song here? You cannot marry someone Qian. That's not good. Okay. No, taboo. For example, my last name is Yan. We have someone Yan here. Yan cannot marry someone, of course, with Yan, but also another one. What is the other one? Yan 不能跟这个庄结婚了。No, because you know what? 庄 originally is 姓严。庄子是要严子，你们没有读过吗？严子杀妻。徐 don't marry someone with 于。I think they, What else? No, I'm kidding. Come on. Who cares now? Right? Who cares now? But hey, some people still care. Right? Or can you marry a very distant relative who happened to be your auntie? Could be 跟一个远房好几远房不太相关的一个姑姑辈结婚，可以吗？不，没有血缘的哦，但是也是这种什么，这种。Okay, for example, let's put it this way. Okay, if you're going to marry your mother's distant cousin, let's say, very far away. Okay, but still, it's your relative. In Taiwan, we cannot have marriage now between the first cousin. Am I right? 第一等的表兄妹不能结婚了。婉君表妹的故事是假的吗？婉君表妹 it's a movie. In China, traditionally, they just love, like, two sisters would love to have their kids married. I said, that's crazy. But that's part of it. They say, 亲上加亲. Okay? But that's also a taboo later because of the, generic problem, right? So you understand what is a taboo. Here in Turkey, don't talk about 1915. Don't even mention that year. Okay, you don't have to say Armenian massacre. No, you just say 1915. It's like in Taiwan, you said 228 before. Like, no, we don't have a 228. We every year we celebrate 229. The lip day, 闰月. Okay, that's before. So 踏步. Finally, 翁颖之. Yeah. Okay, so here, nationalist forces, just like I mentioned earlier about China and Japan. The nationalists in China, I know what would they do. Like if someone show they are not macho or man enough to stand up to their adversary, most of these politicians will receive a bottle of calcium from their people. Do you understand? What is calcium? It's not here. Huh? What is calcium? Very important word, calcium. 钙片。政治人物只要对敌手软弱，马上收到一大堆选民寄给他钙片。请你的脊椎硬起来。Okay, stand up, be straight. So, 我们要不要寄一点给马英九？马英九可能需要很多钙片。他不需要吗？ We are negotiating with China. We want someone who can stand up, right?
He's standing up. This is what he's doing right now.
Okay, but so this is what we call national forces. Nationalist forces will send their politician calcium. Okay, 寄钙片的. Okay, in Turkey and Armenia, we'll try to derail the agreement. Saying derail. What do you mean by derail? We have train being derailed. 被导到另一条轨道. Okay, that's what we call derail. 或者有时候叫出轨了. Okay, derail the agreement and prevent ratification. Take skilled leadership on the parts of the two leaders. Sail past political shows. What do we mean by show? Okay, something that, hey, you're sailing, you want to be on water, you don't want to touch all this, almost like 暗礁一样的浅滩. So all the way to collect Oslo. In Oslo, where is Oslo? Hey, wait a second. I thought Nobel Prize is from Sweden. How come we have a Norway here? There used to be one country. No. The Peace Prize is offered in Oslo. Okay, physicists will go to Stockholm. 你们清华有物理系，有一些同学未来是要拿诺贝尔，是吧？Okay, so you are going to Sweden, but Peace Prize is in Oslo, in Norway. So next year, maybe this will happen. So, you will write something. I'll give you some background already. I'll give you the example of China and Japan. I'll give you the example of Germany and Poland or Germany and France, right? How they reconcile. Is this historical commission going to work? How do you look at this? Should you forget and forgive? So those are the questions. Now, we also have one more to update. It's about, where is my? Okay, it's not in, I will send this to you later, but hopefully you can read this one. Moscow, because Moscow we have something I want to ask you again. Similar question, almost. Okay, you cannot have 200. The most you can have is 175, I think. Okay, only the people in the front might be able to read it. Huang Boxuan, can you read? You cannot. You can read the top. Okay. Moscow attack. Okay, come on, give me this. Okay, now, very important idea about terror. What is terrorism? Okay, now we have the day before yesterday, we have the bombing, and then people got killed. We said that's an act of terrorism. So how is it different from other killings? Can you tell me?
They didn't declare they are going to kill it.
So it is not announced. But usually they claim responsibility, right? Okay, it's not announced. So there is one thing very important about terrorism is what? The element of surprise. If it's not surprise, it's not. I mean, it's like, we're going to bomb. No, that's not terror. Okay, terrorism has to have that kind of element of surprise in modern day. How about 9/11? Do you think that was a surprise?
But yeah,
It should be, right? And then all the others attacks, like a year ago in India, in the Bombay hotel, or the Bali in Indonesia, all this bombing, kind of like surprise. So element of surprise is important. What else? In a terror. They kill innocent. Okay, no. Usually we said soldiers are not supposed to kill innocent. But when you kill innocent means there is an element of, we call, indiscrimination. Which is, again, some of you have taken my class before. Discrimination. You understand discrimination, right? Discrimination means you have a biased view on someone. And discrimination is a good thing in a battle because international law said you should discriminate. You should discriminate the civilian from the soldiers. You don't kill soldiers. You don't kill civilians. You don't kill women and children. Please discriminate. And someone said, no, don't discriminate. I'm just as good as a warrior. Please also put me as a target. Right? Do we do that? No. So discrimination is a good word only in a battlefield. Okay? In hiring, in education, no, don't do that. But in battlefield, discrimination is a good word. But terrorists, they don't discriminate. And that's the reason they're powerful. Because if you know you are not a target, then there is no fear. Okay, now even in September 11, 9/11, in that building, okay, people said, oh, this is Twin Tower, the New York Financial Center. Must be a lot of Jewish people there. Right? Maybe, okay, there are some Jewish people. But there are also Arabs in that building. Also Chinese, also all kinds of people. So today you would think, oh, the Middle Eastern, the Arab people, the Muslim, they must target the Americans, the Jews. So if you're not a Jewish, if you're not an American, you say, well, I'm safe, they're not going to target me. Then there's no fear. They want to create an element of fear. And that fear means indiscrimination. So it can happen to anyone. Now, when it happened to you, you say, I didn't do anything to offend, the terrorist. You're not going to blame the terrorist. You're going to blame the government who caused the resentment of the terrorist. And then you would, what they're trying to do is ask you to put pressure on your government to change policy. So that's what we call, this element of surprise and also of this indiscrimination, so create that fear. Okay, so it's important to have that. What else? Sometimes people say terrorism doesn't have to actually kill someone. Just the possibility of being killed will be sufficient. You worry so much. For example, today in Moscow, taking the subway, you worry. If we have, in Taiwan, people say, oh, what will be a target of terrorist attack in Taiwan? The previous government took some advice from us. So I joined some of the meeting of anti-terrorist prevention, kind of terrorism prevention group from our government. And they said, the first target is 101. Do you think will be 101? Will be a target?
I was thinking of, because it's the symbol of Taiwan anyway.
Okay. But now, have we offended anyone that inviting people to attack Taiwan?
China, maybe.
Well, no. China would not try to use terrorism against Taiwan because they will lose Taiwan forever. So they will not do that. But we supported American effort in Afghanistan. We sent something, okay? We sent a lot of material to support the Americans. So we can be a target, okay? But people say 101 might be one, and the second most likely target would be one. What? NTHU? No, don't worry. Be happy here. Which one? AIT, American Institute in Taiwan. Okay, the American non-official ambassador in Taipei. Xingyi Road, so don't go too close there. It's a target. Okay. Okay, so that's the area people say might. Okay, what other places people might want to do? Would they do a terrorist attack in Nantou County? Earlier we mentioned about Nantou County. Would that be good? Yushan, that's good. That's also a symbol of Taiwan. The J Mountain, the top being hatched. No, terrorists need to kill people, real people. Okay, I don't think we have a lot in Nantou. So it's always subway. You look at the terrorist attack in Great Britain, subway station, right? In Moscow, also hotel. And also in subway station, in hotel, what do you find? A lot of them are just different group of people, not just one targeted people. Because if you attack, let's say, a military camp, very close to Hsinchu, what kind of military camp very close to NTHU? 你们湖口有这个装甲兵 Okay. Where else? Do we still have in Guangdongqiao? No, not anymore. Okay. 10 years ago, I still I still saw some soldiers walking in that area. 清早湖以前也有。Okay, but right now we still have in Hukou. No, I don't think they will attack military camp because that way you, ordinary citizen, will have no fear. So you have to have, like in Taipei 101 or subway station, Taipei subway station, all the people there, if one day a bomb, exploded, then nobody dare to take the subway. Right? So that's their target. And then the worst one in Moscow, anyone can tell me who were the terrorists? Do you know? Just ordinary women. They brought suicide bomb with them. women, people think, oh, terrorists, you have to have a profile. We call profiling. 中文不知道怎么翻译 profile. Like terrorist has to be an Arab, right? Terrorist has to be young. You don't find a lot of people with gray hair saying I'm a terrorist, right? Usually it's in their 20s and 30s. Usually people in the United States will say, oh, must be an Arab, okay? But this will defy your view, the stereotypical view of a terrorist. In Moscow, the bombing, 2 women. Now people call them, extremists. They call them Black Widow. What is a Black Widow? 黑寡妇应该是什么？蜘蛛啊。Okay, so spider. So these are the one in Moscow, and most of them are from not happy with which area, Chechnya, Chechen, right? So it's in this area here, north of the Caucasus here, Chechnya here, and Dagestan here. So those are the area of the extremists. And remember, Soviet Union, or right now we call Russia, religiously still considered broadly Christian. And this region mostly are Muslim. So you have this religious difference. And terrorists usually say we have no other means to express our view. The government won't listen. So this is almost like the final resort. You have to use terrorist means. So I think what we will read about this, and it will help you in the future, is just to understand, almost like a military coup, can they be justified? If the Palestinians in Israel, they have been deprived of their hometown and the homeland, and the West do not support them. So the only thing to make the international community know about the injustice of the Russian government or the Israeli government is using bombs, suicide bomb. And people begin to say, why? Why are these, young Palestinians strap themselves with the bomb? And then what is we call message? Usually they have a message, right? The terrorists, do you think the terrorists will bomb something and say, oh, I just had fun? No. Those are not really terrorists. Terrorists has a message. Remember this. There is a message. Like in Xinjiang, we call the Xinjiang independence movement. They consider being terrorists. American State Department has a list of all the terrorists, and this terrorist also has a goal. Message is we want independence. Okay, Tibet doesn't have terrorists. Okay, other countries you will find terrorists mostly for autonomy, for independence, or like Armenian also have terrorists in the United States killing Turkish diplomats because of the Armenian massacre. So those are the terrorists. Surprise, fear, message. Okay, remember those keywords. Okay, I'll see you next week.